Steve peeked around the pillar. The guards had exited, but stood directly behind the door. He wasn't sure how discreetly he could manage this, but there was no way of knowing if he would have another opportunity. Besides, the procedure might work best with her unconscious. Without a moment to lose, Steve ran from the pillar to Foster's bedside. He removed the vibranium-lined container of ether and placed it next to her. Then Steve once again concentrated on the time stone, doing his level best not to allow himself to be distracted by the circumstances. As difficult as it was to manage it, the stone floated from the containment pack and between Steve and Foster. Slowly, the canister disappeared, revealing the ether underneath. It then floated back towards Foster and reattached itself to her, allowing itself to be absorbed through her skin. Foster's eyes opened in shock, and Steve watched in horror as those same eyes began to turn as crimson as the ether itself. Steve dropped his hand, and the stone fell back into the containment pack, just as Foster fell limply back onto the bed, eyes closed once again. Steve collapsed to the floor. As much as Strange had claimed to be impressed by the strength of Steve's willpower and concentration, he was definitely no Sorcerer Supreme. Steve felt as though the effort had aged him at least 5 years, and it might actually have done so had it not been for the super soldier serum in his veins. He took a few deep breaths, along with a sigh of relief that he was now halfway through with this. "Hold, intruder!" Steve summoned Mjolnir and turned to face the voice's source. He must not have been as discreet as he had hoped, as his stumble was, apparently, loud enough to have alerted not only the guards, but a couple of their superiors to his presence. The blond one looked as though he had walked straight out of Errol Flynn's Robin Hood, while the other reminded him of Thor, but older and with darker hair. "Not the smartest of approaches, raiding the bedchamber of the Prince of Asgard's lady friend, now is it?" The blond one smirked.